Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals, the rematch of the game last week. It was Anthony Brown Jr. at quarterback because both Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley were unavailable. No Lamar Jackson this time around. Tyler Huntley, with that shoulder injury, was throwing on Thursday. I get the feeling he's probably going to play. Is that going to be enough? When you got Joe Burrow, the baby-faced killer, slipping into playoff mode where I loved his comments earlier this week. You just have to have an arrogance about you. I mean, really, but he shows up in these big games, and he does not flinch. He doesn't blink. He tears your heart out, and he's ready to go back into that postseason mode that we saw last year when they beat the Raiders. Not convincingly, but they beat them. Then went to Tennessee and beat the Titans, who were the 1 seed, and then went to Kansas City and were down 21-3 and came back and stole a Super Bowl appearance from Patrick Mahomes. Amazing and possible again.
Well, I'm going to read you a little stat line, Mike. Okay, since Lamar Jackson went out of the lineup, here are the passing yards for the Ravens in each one of their games. 94, 126, 115, 120, and 276. Now, keep in mind, the 276, a lot of that was garbage time. And, I don't take that all that seriously, honestly. But what has happened is that the Ravens really have been unable to be whoever the quarterback is after Lamar Jackson. They've been unable to, when rushed significantly, they've been unable to do positive things in the passing game with any consistency. That's why it's very hard for me to fathom that the Bengals would lose this game.
Yeah, and the spread is up to 9.5. 9.5 for the Bengals hosting the Ravens on Sunday Night Football on NBC. Let's go ahead and, well, before we take a break, there is one question. With Alex Kappa out, and Shireen made the point yesterday that the replacement for Kappa becomes a very key player this weekend. Do you have concerns about Burrow being protected against that Ravens defense and La'el Collins is long gone. He was lost for the year a few weeks back. That's the right side of the line that's going to be a question mark. Does that give you any concern? Maybe not this week, but maybe in future weeks.
I mean, it gives me concern, period, because last year in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, it was the interior rush that killed the Bengals. And this year they've done, and I documented this in my column last week or a couple of weeks ago. This year they've done a fantastic job since about mid-season, especially, the guy who is really keying that is Ted Karras, the center. But I think I look at it, Mike, and I basically say that I think what has happened is that Joe Burrow has learned to play when his protection is not great. One thing I would say is, I think one of the things that the Ravens love about Roquan Smith is that when you have Roquan Smith on your defense, you have the ability to have the kind of internal rush that a lot of teams really are not able to generate from their defense. And the other thing, when I look at the Ravens, the one thing that I have thought about, and really I think they probably knew this coming into the draft when other people really didn't know it. The David Ojabo, their second round pick from Michigan, was going to be able to give them something late in the year. And so I look at this and look, Calais Campbell, very trusted veteran, Jason Pierre-Paul and Roquan Smith. They've got Justin Houston. They have the ability to make it tough for Joe Burrow. And to me, Mike, their biggest chance is forcing 2 or 3 turnovers with that pressure. They weren't able to do it last weekend. I doubt the exclusion of Alex Kappa is going to allow them to do it this year, but they do have multiple pieces that would concern me if I were Brian Callahan, the Bengals offensive coordinator, and if I were Zach Taylor.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.